Canadian Entertainment Podcast. Canadian Entertainment Podcast. It's a Canadian Entertainment Podcast. Canadian Entertainment Podcast. It's a 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 Canadian Entertainment Podcast, hosted by Ben Stagger.
And welcome back to the Canadian Entertainment Podcast with your host, yours truly, Mr. Ben Stagger. And hello, that is me. Thank you again for joining me. It is still the month of July in the year 2024, and the Canadian entertainment machine keeps on chugging along for another week. It was an extremely busy week for me, and I ended up releasing the podcast a little early last week. We usually do not get a Thursday drop, but we had to, or it could have been an early Friday morning drop, but we had to due to supreme busyness. And this week, I had so much stuff going on that I was like, well, we legitimately may have to cancel the pod this week. But then I said to myself, I literally just got myself into a room and I lectured myself. I said, brother, you have 77 loyal watchers on YouTube and about 37 to 38, maybe 31 loyal listeners across all podcast platforms. It is your duty to give them a Canadian entertainment podcast every single week of your life. You cannot do this, I said to myself. And I had to listen to myself and say, you are absolutely right. We must do a Canadian entertainment podcast no matter what the cost. So here we are. We're doing it. We want to do it, but we have so many other things we need to prepare that setting aside a whole hours, it is extreme, but as they say, give a busy person something to do and they will get it done in an extremely intense way. So thank you very much. I just wanted to let you guys know where I'm at. Gonna take a sip of water if that's okay. Not sure what lake this is coming from. Most likely Lake Ontario. But we will talk about that. By the way, because this is kind of cool. This little podcast is just literally just a little secret meeting amongst me and loyal 77 to 100 to maybe 31 people. But I was thinking about getting two of my friends together, Sam Burns, Noah Maloney, Sam Burns, who released a wonderful stand-up special. You have big Canadian entertainment news. You have to go check out LMNOP. It is on YouTube, and it is also on Bandcamp if you'd like to support. And it is also on the streaming platforms, I believe. But I was thinking about getting my friends Sam Burns and my other friend Noah Maloney together. And we do a road trip weekend where we go to every single one of the Great Lakes. We're talking Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Superior. I think that's all. And we we do a review. We each bring a sort of like a glass along like this. We scoop it in the water, and we try, we in one day or a weekend, we try a whole cup of water from every single one of the Great Lakes. Maybe we'll have to cross the border into America, so might be like kind of a two country project, like with support of the Canadian American government, because I'm sure we could get some sort of government grant to do this. But we review each of the Great Lakes water. What do you think about that? Would you like to see that series? I think that'd be insanely awesome. Now, all I need essentially is I need to get some sort of testing kit, or maybe, honestly, maybe we could crowdfund for a dog who could sniff the water to see if it has any gluten in it, due to my multi-decade battle with celiac disease that I have been fighting for my entire life for multiple decades, but I am not allowed to reveal my actual age because of ageism in the Canadian entertainment industry. I may be younger than you think I am, I may be older than you think I am, or I may be exactly the age you think I am. And any of those three opinions could intensely damage my career because of ageism in the industry. Anyways, I hope you all are having an amazing summer. There's been a lot of rain in Ontario, Canada. Some people call Ontario, Canada, the New York of Canada, the New York State, right? Similar sort of thing going on. We have there's two coasts. There's the Ontario coast and the Vancouver coast in Canada. And those essentially is where a lot of the entertainment's going on. And there's entertainment going on in the Maritimes too. And I'm sure up north, Northwest Territories, none of it. Yukon. So there's literally entertainment going on all these countries, but some people refer to Ontario as the New York State of Canada. I just want you to keep that in mind for a sec. So New York State is known for the city of New York City. And since Ontario is kind of the New York State of Canada, I think a lot of people will back me on this. We should have an Ontario city. Now, what do you think about that? A city that is kind of like New York, but it's like it's Ontario. In the past couple of weeks, I was driving the other week to Owen Sound, and then this weekend I took Ontario Northland bus a number of times, just for personal purposes. And I saw so much empty farmland, so much empty land, and I was like, we could totally just build a new city, right? I think we need a new metropolitan city in a very intense way. And I was so inspired because a couple months ago, I actually went to Las Vegas. And Las Vegas is this massive city in Nevada, which is a state in the United States. Kind of like our Niagara Falls, which I think Niagara Falls could legit be its own province, right? But that's another story. But when we were in Nevada, I saw this hotel that was totally New York City themed. It had the Statue of Liberty. It had a Hershey store. It had a roller coaster. It was like very tried to mimic New York City. And I was looking at all this farmland the past 2 weekends. I was like, why don't we do that on some of this farmland? Because I see a lot of wasted farmland when I drive through Ontario, or I take the bus through Ontario, because on a lot of this farmland, what is growing there? One of the most disgusting products you could ever grow in this country or in this province. And yes, dig, that's right, Jeopardy contestant. Yes, we are thinking of wheat and gluten. There's a lot of wheat and gluten being grown in the farmland of Ontario, which, if I'm ever given the job as Prime Minister or I have some serious power, we will be making that illegal 100%, because no one needs that. So we get rid of all the wheat and gluten fields. We have so much land. It's just dirt at this point. And of course we go super hard. We use some of the latest technology to make sure there's zero wheat and gluten anywhere in Ontario on all these wasted sort of lands that have wheat and gluten in. One of the most harmful substances you could ever think of in your life. Like, it's the harm wheat and gluten. It is so disgusting. I feel so disgusted talking about. Like, I actually might have an allergic reaction saying the words wheat and gluten due to my multi-decade battle with celiac disease, but that's a story for a different day. So we burn down all these wheat and gluten fields. We get Axe body spray, lighters, we burn them all down, but like big scale, like ones that like Shaquille O'Neal or Andre the Giant would use, right? So yeah, and giant lighters that Cheech and Chong would, because they would use like extremely giant lighters to light their extremely massive doobies. Doobie Brothers. See, I'm so full of connections. So we light all the wheat and gluten fields on fire, and then we call up Air Canada and we say, hey, can we use a couple of your planes? Okay, can we use a couple of your planes? So they're like, yeah, of course, duh. So we get their planes, and first we make a pit stop in Quebec at Bombardier, and we say, hey, Bombardier, could you make us a couple of like giant magnets? Like, and please don't take frickin' 7 years like sometimes you do. No hate on Bombardier. I consider them part of the Canadian entertainment industry field because they cause so much drama. It's literally like a reality television show. It literally reminds me of Survivor. Some of the contracts they do is hilarious. Those guys are absolute jokes. They're like the merry little pranksters. They're essentially like impractical jokers. They say, okay, yeah, it's gonna take you 1 year for us to build some light rail transit, and then it takes like 1 to 2 tech. It's just hilarious. And don't sue me. We're just having fun, but yeah, okay, we're just having fun, right? But anyways, so we get Bombardier to build us these magnets, right? We have the Air Canada planes. We say, Air Canada planes, let's go to Nevada. Then we pick up the New York City hotel from Las Vegas, Nevada, because like they have so many hotels there, and we just say, hey guys, like instead of you guys giving us some money for, you probably give us some money for like Family Day in Ontario. We're just going to take this. Family Day is just this day in Ontario around Groundhog Day where we just celebrate family, which is incredible. Greatest holiday ever. So we pick up this hotel because whatever, and we say, yeah, no Family Day donation to Ontario, Canada, all good. We're just going to take this. You have a lot of other hotels on the strip, the Luxor next door, whatever. It's all good, right? And then we pick up with a giant magnet. Then we just zoom back over to Ontario. We drop this into Ontario farmland, and then we have Ontario. We have first part of Ontario City. Then with my Bruins Trekkie connections by that time, because I'm big Boston Bruins fan and Star Trek fan, and there's a giant crossover which nobody wants to talk about. I call up, I assume by this time, because by this time, yeah, who knows what will happen. I will call up Jean-Luc Picard, because I'm sure he'll probably exist by then. I kind of think that show might be predicting the future in some ways. So I call up Jean-Luc Picard and we say, we got to use your replicator. And he says, why? And I say, look, you give us money for Family Day every year, just like out of the goodness of your heart, right? And essentially, can we use that replicator to replicate this New York City thing? And we're just going to replicate a couple times in this former Ontario wheat fields, because you know obviously how bad you're from, and then we replicate it so many times, and then we have Ontario City. It's just like New York City but in Ontario, and it's just so fun. Sorry. Okay, I just needed to check something on the camera because I'm a one-man band, and we're all good. But that was a clip, right? The whole Ontario City thing. We're just looking for clips. That's how we survive out here. We survive off of clips in this economy, right? Everyone's clipping, and that is so cool. That is so cool in a massive way. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water here. So I know so many radio stations are like, we can't have radio silence. We can't have radio silence. But maybe if you warn the people first, be like, hey, I'm just going to take a sip of water here. Is that all right? They'd be okay with it. And people just want you to be extremely real today. So I think people would be like, yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, here I go. Again on my own. I'm so quick today. What's with that? Maybe because I'm extremely busy. That's hilarious. I'm being so hilarious right now. That was really good. So, I don't know if you have heard the news today. Oh boy. Yes. Sergeant Pepper's. Yes. Day in the Life. Yes. What was with that weird part in the middle of the song that Paul McCartney just said, okay, let's just talk about me getting ready for my day. It was essentially that was essentially the first TikTok, eh? That when Paul McCartney is like in the middle of A Day in the Life by the Beatles, he's like, get out of bed, drag foam across my head. That's just essentially what TikTokers do every single day. Get ready with me, Paul McCartney, get out of bed, drag a foam across my head, have a smoke. Then you get shadow banned for saying smoke because for some reason people can't handle smoking. I get it why we can't handle, but you can't say it for some reason. Say whatever. No, you can most likely, but I don't know. Man, I know smoking's bad for you, but I remember a couple of years ago I was really watching cigarette reviews on YouTube. Not that I really smoke, but and I don't right now, but I have maybe a couple times in the past, whatever, transparency, just to try it out. And I don't even recommend that, but you know how we can all be. But, yeah, I used to watch cigarette reviews on YouTube, and probably now I feel so bad for the cigarette YouTubers, cigarette TikTokers, cigarette, Twitch streamers, Discords. I feel so bad because now they're all shadow banned, I'm sure, and they just can't get any views, can't make a living anymore, and that's horrible. But we allow sports betting. Yeah, sports betting's fine. Yeah, alcohol ads are fine, but no, the cigarette YouTubers, okay. And I get it, cigarettes, yeah, but what about the other stuff? That's just whatever. I just going off the dome. I just have a lot to say. We took a big break, longer than usual, and I have a lot to say in a massively intense way. So deal with that in your own way, and that's we'll move on. But as I was saying, I really want to bring this up. So I've been watching some TikToks and YouTube videos lately, and apparently you see a lot of video clips and TikToks of people talking about aliens, and they're like, yeah, aliens are in the Bible. Do you not know that aliens, back in the day, aliens used to show themselves to us sort of like angels, or like a magic leprechaun, or like the Loch Ness monster. Whoa, something's crazy going on. I gotta take 1 sec. Well, that was absolutely terrifying. We legit thought that we were gonna have to close down shop and have no idea how we were going to save the podcast. We might have had to organize a charity concert or something, because you will not believe what happened. So I'm going to get up close for this one, but this is for the tech people out there. So we record this on a camera and we do audio on a computer, right? And I have the camcorder viewfinder flipped so I can see what I'm doing. This is common amongst newscasts and stuff. They will see what they're doing, right? And some people call this the modern day newscast, the podcast. We could get into it, but I don't think we have time. So I'm looking, I'm seeing the little SD card. There's a little SD card symbol, and it goes from green to yellow to red. And I'm a driver, fully licensed G. Did driver's training, had the G2 at one point, started with the G1, and I know what red means. Red means stop the podcast, because something extreme may be going on behind the scenes. So I popped the SD card out and I put it in the computer, and it says I have deleted the previous podcast video files. So what's going on? Pop it back into the camera. It says that there's only 20 minutes left of footage. I say 20 minutes left of footage. No. The podcast has to be a bit longer than that. So I pop it back into the computer, and I go to the Get Info button, and the Get Info button says, you have used about 12 gigabytes on this SD card, buddy. It legit said it like that. I said, okay, first off, the tone is a little weird, but interesting nonetheless. Nonetheless, that's an interesting take. So I do some digging on Firefox browser. I type in what is going on if a SD card says it is full, but you can't find any files. And it was revealed to me that if you delete files on an SD card, but you do not take out the trash while the SD card's in, they're still going to be hidden away on that SD card, whether you like it or not. It all comes down to waste management, right? Gosh, I really wish that one day we will be able to do this, but I don't know if it would be used for good. But you know how we have this big litter problem all over the world? Like, imagine we could just be like, delete. And you know, as we talked about on the last podcast, that this could be a massive Canadian computer program by some computer developers. I know Ubisoft has a couple headquarters in Canada, so perhaps this could be all a Ubisoft game. You literally never know. And you know, because so many video games also put little Easter eggs. Like, I remember playing the Tony Hawk game, you'd see all these Activision advertisements in the game. So the fact that we have Ubisoft Studios in Canada would make sense with the ultimate video game that we're currently potentially in. It would make sense that perhaps that's exactly what's going on. But we can touch upon that later. So yeah, imagine you could just delete garbage. Well, that would put garbage workers out, but then it would save it's so interesting how that works. Life is such a balance beam in such an incredibly intense way. Wow, I really thought we were going to have to close up the pod. Just say, hey, we gave it a good 5 episodes. 5 of the greatest podcast episodes of all time. Right up there with Smartless episode with Wayne Gretzky, which I did really enjoy. I was on a Wayne Gretzky kick last year. Having another drink of water because I'm stressed. I hope that's okay with you all. Anyways, everybody, as I was saying before, and so much time has literally gone on between the time, like it won't be noticeable for you, the listener or the viewer, but a lot of stuff has gone on since I was last speaking. So I like to pull back the curtain a bit just to tell you what's going on, but I'm going to close again, treat it like a pro, and pretend I just said that. So, as I was saying, allegedly, aliens used to reveal themselves as angels, and they might not be aliens. They could be angels, leprechauns, Loch Ness Monster, unicorn, gargoyle, gargoyle, ghost, that sort of thing, right? Sometimes you are looking for a funny fourth or fifth thought, but then your body's like, no, this is serious, buddy. You're gonna have some more ideas flow to your brain, but they're all very serious, like a ghost. So I just literally got owned by my own brain, and that's beautiful, right? Still learning every day. I won't tell my age, but every day I'm learning. Yeah. Anyways, so as I was saying, of course, they used to reveal themselves allegedly as angels, leprechauns, Loch Ness monsters, ghosts, as we've seen in A Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge first gets visited by Jacob Marley, then the ghost of Christmas past, Christmas present, and of course the ghost of Christmas future, who is a badass Grim Reaper. At least in the Muppet version. Is that the scariest Muppet of all time? The Grim Reaper Muppet? Why do they not bring him back again? Why was he not in Why was he not in the Electric Mayhem show? There's that laugh. But anyways, so all these things, so this is alleged, and so now they're saying that allegedly these things we've seen forever, apparently, heck, Charles Dickens wrote about them in A Christmas Carol, those were all aliens. Apparently they talk about in the Bible too, like sometimes someone will come down, yeah, allegedly that's all aliens. So I just really want to go on a stage right now, and maybe I'll do it tonight, and just be like, so this is the opening. So aliens are Bible characters now? What? So aliens are literally Christmas Carol characters? What? Little Mermaid with Ursula? Like, those are all aliens. What is going on with this world? And of course, there's some theories that they're not aliens at all, but they are in fact from under the sea in Atlantis. And under the sea, dun, 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 there are UAPs. Would that be a good song parody? Should I sell that to Weird Al? I know he hasn't released an album for a while because he thinks everything has been made, but he hasn't done Under the Sea, There Are UAPs. So, Mr. Yankovic, if you're listening, Daniel Radcliffe, who played you, he's shot a lot of films before in Ontario, Canada specifically, so he knows the Canadian entertainment industry well, so we have a ton in common. And yeah, we both wear glasses. And yeah, so Harry Potter wore the circular frames, which the hipsters picked up a couple of years. They're like, whoa, Harry Potter was kind of badass. Let's wear those freaking circle frames. And now I think, so when I got my first pair of glasses, I was like, yeah, gotta get these. And now everyone's wearing them. But I'm the first person to ever have these frames. Am I a hipster? Aww. Am I a Canadian hipster? Aww. How could a Canadian hipster navigate himself in the Canadian entertainment industry? Aww. Oh, I know. Urban Outfitters biopic. I will pitch that, and they will take me seriously because I'm a Canadian hipster. Canadian hipster. Canadian, yeah. That original prankster by The Offspring. I know some punk heads listen to this. Yeah, I could be a hipster, right? But but you know what? I'm sure a lot of hipsters wouldn't accept me because I don't know. Is it the shoes I wear? Is it my haircut? Is it my threads? Is it yellow shirt, not the right shade? Or so who knows? Essentially, if I'm even accepted by hipsters, but that's literally another. I love to. Should I interview a Canadian? Should I interview the ultimate Canadian hipster? When we think ultimate Canadian hipster, who do we think of? And maybe the answer lies right under our noses. Who is the They had a couple of years ago, little sneak peek behind the industry. Some people will remember this. CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, is the corporation. Keyword corporation. It had this thing where did the greatest Canadian. So they had a contest and all these people like pitched like who they thought the greatest Canadian was, and then someone won. I think it was Tommy Douglas, who invented healthcare or something like that. He invented Canadian healthcare. Tommy Douglas was like, he literally put his hand up in Canadian Parliament and he said, "Guys, I have an idea. It's called Canadian healthcare. What do you think?" What do you think, guys? I have an idea. It's called Canadian healthcare. It's like, so you know how sometimes you get sick? Well, what if we build these things called Canadian hospitals? And then you could go to a Canadian hospital and get serviced by a Canadian nurse or doctor. I know this sounds a little funny, but why don't we try it out? And you know what? I actually think that one day, there's this thing called movies going on. There's movie industry. Allegedly, Thomas Edison down there, he invented a motion picture camera, if you can believe it. Well, I have a feeling that one day this whole Canadian healthcare thing will catch on. And wait a second, I'm having a premonition. One day there will be a boy born in a town not too far away from that. He's saying this in Ottawa. In the town, Ottawa. That's like the Washington, D.C. of Canada. So he said, one day there will be a boy born in here, in this around here. Is he Canadian? No, close. He's on the border, close to Sarnia, Flint, Michigan. Oh, not Mickey Mouse. It's Michael, who's my favorite Bond actor. Michael Moore is his name. So Michael Moore will make a movie, and it will essentially get, people will love it because he will speak so highly of Canadian healthcare, and it will get our country on the map. And then everyone in the parliament was like, woohoo! They didn't say yes. They said, woohoo, I agree. And that's why Tommy Douglas was voted the greatest Canadian of all time. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. I think it should have been Robert Munsch. total badass. Love you forever. I love you forever. Try to do this at karaoke. I like you for always, as long as I'm living. My baby, you'll be. Robert Munsch is an actual legend because you know what? A lot of Canadian entertainers do this thing where they're like, oh, you know what? I'm sick of the Canadian entertainment industry. I want to try out the American entertainment industry. And then they move south and they just, they do all this crazy stuff down there. But you know what? Robert Munsch, he totally broke the mold. He said to everyone, so first off, Robert Munsch, he said, okay, I'm actually born in America. Fact check that. Absolutely true. Ding. And I'm going to move to a town called Guelph, Ontario, because I hear that, that one of my favorite poems is In Flanders Field, the Poppies Grow, Between the Crosses, Row on Row. And I just like the laid back atmosphere of this town. So I'm going to move there. Ding. I'm going to get a job at the University of Guelph and just have a good time. Ding. And then he writes some of the most badass books ever written. I Love You Forever, Paperback Princess. And, well, you know what? Now I finally understand, because there's so many Canadians who move down to the States and then they're like, I wonder, some Americans might be like, no, they're ours. And then we're like, no, they're ours. There's a tug of war. And we hardly Canadians get the Uno reverse card, but with Robert Munsch, he is the ultimate Uno reverse card in the Canadian entertainment industry. He said, no, I don't want to do the American entertainment industry. Roald Dahl, he can have it. Shel Silverstein, he can have the children. Something about Guelph is just so funky. Jimmy Jazz. Woohoo! That big arse church, Catholic church. I love the big arse Catholic church. This is so cool, this town. The Mustang Drive-In. Yeah, this is my vibe. Not America and the 52 states and Alaska. What is it? Huh. He said no, and I'm going to write some of the most badass books of all time. So that's exactly what he did. He did the Uno reverse card compared to most Canadian entertainers. And kudos to you, Robert Munsch. Wherever your allegiances lie, you are such a legend. But you know what? Maybe your allegiances just lie to planet Earth, and that's totally understandable. Well, allegedly Atlantis exists, and it is somewhere, and that's where everyone's coming from. All the angels, all the leprechauns, all the ghosts and Ghostbusters, including Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Oh, Ghostbusters, for all my Canadian viewers, that's an American film, came out. I don't know if it made it to Canada. I torrented. No, I didn't. So essentially, there's these Ghostbusters, and one of them is actually from Kingston, Ontario. Yeah, the same place where the Tragically Hip and Bryan Adams, I think, are from. Yeah, so they fight all these ghosts, and ghosts, we used to think ghosts just came from anywhere, but essentially they actually come from the Atlantic Ocean in Atlantis. Yeah, so Atlantis exists. Okay, yeah. Nice. Because people say every time you see a UAP, it always comes out of water and goes back into water. So, yeah, Atlantis exists, and Little Mermaid was real. So, the jig is up, Ariel, Flounder, and Sebastian, and we would love some of that technology to figure out some stuff up here, but no AI scripts, just like the time machine stuff, that'd be helpful. Flying cars, sure, we'll take a flying saucer, even though it's kind of 50s, right? It's kind of, we're over the flying saucer, right? Now, we're so over the flying saucer, we're now, the flying Tic Tac. Oh, cool. It's like us humans are so weird. It always has to get smaller for some reason. Oh, flying saucer. It's just like a phone, right? Flying saucer. Oh, it's so clunky. I can't fit it in my pocket. Oh, but a Tic Tac. That's so cool. I need a laser eye surgery 7 times to actually see it. But that's so cool. Look up the Tic Tac. Tom DeLonge has been saying stuff about it, and Tom DeLonge is such a badass. Honorary Canadian. We should literally give him the Canadian Golden Cross for your legendary pop punk songs and alien research. Tom DeLonge, you are the GOAT. Thank you, Tom, for being such a GOAT, buddy. Yeah, I'm talking to you, and we talked about some of your stuff. So please plug this podcast or write a pop punk song about it. That would be awesome, buddy. Right, Tom? Okay, just check him. So I got a lot of stuff on the go. If you've been following me, I love posting an Instagram reel, posting a TikTok, posting a podcast. Those are literally my 3 passions in life, but I have a lot of other stuff behind the scenes. I have a big trip planned. A big content trip. I want to go to Hamilton, Ontario within the next couple weeks because I was on YouTube the other day. I know YouTube isn't made in Canada, but there's a lot of Canadian content and entertainment on it, so I give it an absolute pass. And I was watching an interview with Bob Dylan, who grew up in Minnesota, I believe, Duluth, and I consider that potentially a part of Canada, but that's a whole different story. Anyways, and I saw that he was interviewed in a Hamilton parking lot in 1986, 2 years before one of my brothers was born. Oh, I should not reveal any, but he's on the entertainment. But maybe if he wants to I wish I had one of those Men in Black things. Okay. Whatever. Okay. So Bob Dylan, he gets interviewed in a parking lot in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And I essentially he was filming this movie called Hearts of Fire, which a big part of it takes place at Cops Coliseum. Now it's called something else, probably Ryokan. What is Ryokan? Okay. Could someone give me a 20-minute YouTube video I could watch about what Ryokan is? I would love to know. Okay. Thank you very much. Anyway, so Bob Dylan, right? So he was filming a movie in 1986 called Hearts of Fire. Haven't seen it yet. Lots of it was filmed in Hamilton, Ontario. Woohoo! And he gets interviewed in a parking lot in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And I so badly want to go to that parking lot and make a video being like, we are here in this parking lot in Hamilton, Ontario. Which, roll the clip, Bob Dylan got interviewed here. Isn't that wild? What? The Bob Dylan? Yeah, the times there are changing guy. He got interviewed in this parking lot in Hamilton, and now we're here. What? I never thought I'd be here. This is crazy. This is crazy on a historic level. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So that video is in the works. I memorized the script. It's, as you can see, this was good practice. So thank you so much. Sometimes I worry a lot and I have a lot of fear. I feel scared a lot, but I literally just need to remember. Sorry, radio silence, podcast silence. Yeah, update that a little bit. Update that term. Just wait 1 sec. Sorry, I need just 1 second of silence. I wonder how I can make noise. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I get scared and worried a lot. And I literally just need to remember 4 words or 5 words or 6, 7 words from The Lion King. It means no worries for the rest of your days. I just need to remember that. I just need to remember those 7 or so words, it means no worries for the rest of your days. It means no worries for the rest of your days. And if you've seen Lion King, you'll know what I mean. It's a lyric in one of the songs called Hakuna Matata. You're going to love it. I'm sorry if you haven't seen it yet, and this is a massive spoiler, but they say that in a song. And I just think about that. It's like, whoa, what does that mean? It means no worries for the rest of my days? Huh? Anyways. So yeah, it's a busy weekend coming up. I know it's one of the days of the week close to the weekend, and I got a lot of stuff going on, some stuff tonight, doing a show tonight, and I feel a bit on the go. I'm doing some massive filming stuff this weekend, not the Bob Dylan video, but maybe. So we're just rocking and rolling. Canadian entertainment. You could spend a lot of time in Canadian entertainment. And entertainment, every industry is every industry ever's life is a very interesting thing. But anyways, you can spend a lot of time in entertainment, Canadian entertainment, and you're working, and then you wake up one day, and you're like, this next thing's gonna be the thing that's awesome and lots of people enjoy. You could keep on working, and then you wake up one day and you're like, oh, it's my 100th birthday. Great. Oh, nice. It's my 100th birthday. Nice. And I just went from thing to thing, and I'm 100 years old, and what the heck just happened? I literally thought it's my next project, the one that's gonna skyrocket everything so I can do, and I literally just turned 100. Oh, fantabulous. But soon, you know what? 100's going to be the new 20 or 30. Mark my words. You heard it here on the Canadian Entertainment Podcast. 100's going to be the new 20 or 30. So if you're feeling bad, well, just wait. 100 things are going to change, right? So just think about that for a sec. Last year, I was absolutely, massively obsessed with the Beach Boys. I was massively obsessed with the Beach Boys in an absolutely massive way. And Disney must have got a little wind of that. And they saw that I was in their top under 1% on my Spotify Wrapped. Yeah, they saw it and they said, okay, we got to make a documentary now. Ben Sager, who will be Canadian Entertainment Podcast, we got to make a documentary now. So they made this documentary that appeared on Disney Plus about the Beach Boys. I haven't watched it yet because I listened to a lot of podcasts about them all last summer, and how everyone's loving the Beach Boys. And you know what? The hipster brain goes, everyone's loving the Beach Boys now. Yeah? Well, I was listening to them in 2023. I was listening to the Beach Boys in 2023. So yeah, I know about the Pet Sounds instrumentals on the 50th anniversary version, and I also know about the Summer of Love song by Mike Love. That album that's from isn't on streaming services. Yeah, I know about that too, and I know about Barbara Ann, and I know about Lil Deuce Coupe, and I know about Don't Worry Baby, how that was Brian Wilson's answer to Be My Baby. I know that Brian Wilson listened to that every day and maybe still listens to that. And I also know about Holland. Yeah. I know about Sail On Sailor. Yeah. I also know about the Christmas album. I also know about Dennis Wilson. Yeah. I also know about Carl Wilson. I also know that Bruce, Bruce, who came on during the Pet Sounds album, who is in the God Only Knows round. I know that he produced a song on The Weeknd. Yeah, so I knew about that. So on the Weeknd's latest album, so I knew about that because I've been listening to the Beach Boys intensely since 2023. So I know about all that. So you guys who have been listening to the Beach Boys since 2024, yeah, well, I know about this. And no, I was actually having a text conversation with my buddy, Bungalow Jonathan, aka Jacob Ansey. If you want me to believe that, no. He was saying he's been listening to them. And this is not about the conversation we were having. I was already thinking about this the other day. Literally, when I was walking, listening to the Pet Sounds instrumental, I was like, yeah, well, I've been listening to them since 2023. This was before we had that conversation. I wouldn't think that about you. I'm just literally talking about the evil Canadian hipster part of my brain. Duality of man. Yeah, absolutely. Duality of man. I've been listening to the Beach Boys since 2023. So yeah, but actually, obviously, and the actual Canadian hipster me has to be like, well, actually, so I got really into the Beach Boys in the summer of 2023 when I was driving around a lot, for work, but whatever. But I actually have been aware of them since my childhood, and my first Comtech video that I ever made, I made it to Wouldn't It Be Nice? Yeah, I did, and I got the Pet Sounds on CD. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I know how emo Pet Sounds is. Yeah, it's the first emo album. Yeah, I actually know about that. Yeah, I know how emo. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know that the Beach Boys aren't Canadian, but it's possible that they might be. Yeah. So I know, and I've been listening to the Beach Boys intensely since 2023. Yeah. Staring in the sun outside, staring at the sun, we've been all summer long. Yeah, I like that song too. Yeah. No, but they are such a good band. I'm sorry if that just... The duality of man is a very wonderful thing. But yeah, every year I go... No, you know what? I've had a couple Beach Boys obsession phases, but this time last year I got into some albums that I was not really listening to before. And then you find out most of those albums, they're just taking things from Smile. Yeah, but they're good. What a treat of a band. And even that last album they sort of did together, that's why God made the radio. That's why God made the... Sometimes I think that my musical influences, because yes, I perform music sometimes, are maybe too basic. Beach Boys, Bob Dylan, Nirvana. And I think of Canadian band. Even though what I said about, I obviously love Neil Young, and Bachman Turner Overdrive, and April Wine. Yeah, and and a couple other bands. I love a couple bands, including yeah, I do like some new songs on the new Charlie XCX album, 360. Yeah, and technically we're governed by the same monarch, so she's essentially Canadian, so that's essentially a Canadian album. The album Brat, it does fall under the Canadian entertainment umbrella because we're governed by the same monarch whose name is Prince Charles, right? Or King Charles, right? And so the So, England, they did Brexit, but they did not do Kexit. They did not get out of the Canadian England connection. So everything that they do, James Bond, Charlie XCX, Simon Cowell, that's also Canadian as well. The Beatles were Canadian. Charlie XCX is Canadian, and also A Christmas Carol is technically a Canadian novel. That is can lit. The Ghost of Christmas Past, yes, that is Canadian because same monarch, right? So is Ebenezer Scrooge, so is Tiny Tim, and your childhood just got ruined right there. So this is my message to everyone in the world. Everything you love is technically Canadian entertainment, including the new Charlie XCX album, whether you like it or not. That is absolute facts. And I think we just got in our clip. Woohoo! We did it. We didn't have a clip for the next couple, for the past couple of podcasts. We tried, but we posted the clips and they absolutely got about 5 likes in an hour. So we had to remove them off all social media to protect our integrity. But I think something in the news, Brat, Charlie XCX, I officially think we got another clip. We did it. We did it. Thank you very much. We got a clip. We got a clip. The Canadian Entertainment Podcast. Sometimes it's long form, sometimes it's clippable, but it is always here to entertain you and inform you about all goings on in what we call the Canadian entertainment industry. Some say one of the greatest industries in the world. Thank you for joining us for another fantastic episode. It was a roller coaster of emotion, but we wouldn't have it anyway. This is your host, Ben Stager, signing off for now. Until we're going to say next week, and we will do it all again. And I'll have a lot more to say. But thank you to my fan base, followers. Even if you're a follower but not a fan, that's okay. If you're a fan but not a follower, also okay. But maybe we could switch that up. But thank you for everything. And this has been a lot of fun. So we'll talk to you very, very soon in a very, very extreme way. Thank you very much. Bye-bye for now.